security implementation with respect to Java or Spring Boot applications or any programming language applications, as a developer, what kind of security we will provide, where we will worry, where we are going to involve with respect to security implementation, we are trying to understand in yesterday's session, right? So when it comes to the security, there are different layers of security and different teams will be available for different perspectives or different layers of security. When it comes to infrastructure, there will be a different team. When it comes to networking, there will be a different team. Okay, so they like that. Different teams are categorized for different kind levels of security layer. But as a Java developer, as a Spring Boot developer, an application developer, where we are going to involve with respect to security, here it is. Generally, the resources what we are implemented as part of our application, the functionalities what we are implemented as part of our application. Okay, those are all things based on the requirement point of view. It's all about requirement again. So based on the requirement point of view, we have to make sure security should be implemented, like who has to be access that URL or who has to be access that resource or that logic. Okay, so who should not be accessed. So like that, we are going to provide security layer within application level. Okay, within application level. But outside of the application, when it comes to infrastructure, we no need to worry about the security. That is all part of different teams or different layers. Okay. So yesterday, even we understood a couple of points. So I told you generally how things will happen. We will have production servers. Nothing but nowadays it is a cloud environment most of the times. So it's all about a Linux computer or Linux machine. I can call it as a Linux machine also. So it's a simple computer. I mean, it's a Linux machine related to the production environment. Inside that, we will deploy the Tomcat server. Inside Tomcat, we will deploy all our web application. And here, with respect to all these layers, infrastructure point of view, Tomcat server installation, configuration, security. So these are all things, even database installation, database configuration, database security. These are all things will be taken care by the different teams. But when it comes to as a Spring Boot developer, so what kind of security we are implementing here it is. So whenever we are using any real-time applications like Gmail, Facebook, okay, Flipkart, Amazon, wherever you will go, most of the majority of the applications will behave a functionality generally. Okay, so what will happen first when we open Flipkart account, for example, yesterday we taken to do the login. First, what you have to do? We have to do the registration. As a user, first we have to register our account. And then without registering the user account, can we make any orders? Without registering user account, can we make any orders on the Flipkart account? No, right? So only after registering our user account, once you are doing the login, then only you can make the orders. Then only you can add your addresses. Then only you can add your mobile numbers or email IDs and everything. Once you created a user account, and then only you can start making orders on the Flipkart. Okay. So what we observed yesterday, okay, fine. I have a user account. I logged into Flipkart. Okay, then I can see my name and I can see all my profile information and I can see all the addresses information. So whenever I'm clicking on the address link, what's happening, guys? As a response, what we are getting back? I'm clicking on the manage addresses button. So as a response, what you are getting back? All the addresses what I have added so far till today in the Flipkart. So 3 accounts I added. So all the 3 accounts are getting displayed or not? Displayed. So you are sending a URI called as flipkart.com/account/addresses. Okay. Then it is listing all the addresses. Can we consider this as a REST service or not? Is it a REST service? 100% REST service. In the backend, a user ID is going 8826111377. So in the backend, a query will be executed, find by user information where, okay, whatever it is, find by mobile number from the address table. From the address, assume they are maintaining an address table. One-to-many relationship. Is it a one-to-many relationship or not? 8826 Dilip is the only one person. But how many accounts you have? Sorry, how many addresses you have? More than one. One-to-many relationship. So this is what the reality of relationships we will maintain in real-time projects also. So now the use case is representing one-to-many case. So in database, you will write down somehow find by user ID of all the addresses. Then you are getting all the three addresses and you are making it as a response and you are sending it back to the client. So in this case, client is nothing but front end. Client taking the response of JSON and client is displaying in the user interface format. Client is displaying in the user interface format. But whenever I take in the same URL in the same session, in the same browser, in the same session means what? Same browser, already open browser will be called as same session. Okay, if I open the same browser and one more new tab, and if I enter /account/addresses, I'm able to see again all my user interface level, all my addresses are not. Right? So is it asking any username, password? No, right? So, but whenever I open a new browser, okay, fresh browser, a new browser, and if I enter same URL again, immediately it is asking. So it's not, is it displaying any addresses? No, but it is asking it is displaying a login page. So that means it is asking us, first of all, who are you? Then only I can give you the addresses, all these things. So first prove yourself, who are you? Then only I will give it. So in this case, how browser in the first use case, how it knows that this is the Dilip person, and so that I will give all the addresses related to the Dilip Singh. And in the second case, why it is not identifying, how it is identifying the server application, okay, as a new session, as a new browser session. Earlier, this person, no user is logged into that from that client or from that browser or from that user interface. Okay, how server application is knowing that. So here, for example, assume you are not protected /account/addresses. Okay, where there is no security. Assume there is no security for that, and you are returning all the addresses. Okay, so generally, at response body level, 8826111377 is also going, and you are not implemented any security layer. Okay, what is going to happen? We will try to discuss also. We will see those are all examples. Okay, so to overcome all this, to achieve all these issues, to achieve all these problems, in every real-time application, we will use a concept called as token-based authentication system. So what it is? Token-based authentications. Token-based authentication system or token-based authentication, we can call it as anyway. So what is the meaning of token? Here it is. So let me explain you very clearly one more time. Even we already yesterday, we taken from the login page. Okay. So whenever user sending his username, password, and it is reaching to the server application, that means our Spring Boot application, assume as a Spring Boot application, what we will do in the backend? We will write a logic like something like find by user ID and password or select star from users where username and password is matching or not. If it is matching, then we will collect all his user information and we will send it back to the client. We will send it back to the client. That is the requirement. Okay. So along with that, what we are doing here as part of security implementation, as part of authentication, we are generating a token by following some frameworks or some token based frameworks or token generation frameworks. We are generating a token. How to generate that token? That is what about our training of security implementation. Okay, simply we are generating a secret token. Okay, we are generating a unique token for that user ID. With that user ID, I'm creating a unique token, and that token I'm sending back to the client along with the actual response. Okay, the token I'm sending to the client. Now, next to time onwards, client would like to access any of his information like his previous orders, his profile information, he want to reset his password, whatever he want to do. So next to request onwards, okay, when request reaches to the server, I will receive hundreds of requests or thousands of requests from the client as a server application. So how do I know that which request belongs to which client, which user, something like that, right? So that means generally assume you are all my clients and the server application. You are all sending requests to me. Okay. And whenever I'm just, every time I'm asking you, okay, give me your username, password, then only I will give you the response. Is it a good way, good process? No, right? So you will feel like one fine day, why are you, sir? Why are you asking every minute, every second when we are coming to you, you are asking every time username, password. Why don't you identify a shortcut? So then you will give a suggestion to me, sir, okay, first time let's validate all my details based on your registration, whatever the registration we did, validate it. And why don't you give a slip to us? So what these people are doing, you're just showing a slip and you're entering into the premises, right? So that means that is the slip or that is the token is making you're the authenticated person. You are already verified person, right? It's not like every day, again, your Aadhaar card is verified, your PAN card is verified, and every day, then only I'm giving the response. No, right? First time I will verify all the details. Okay, everything is matching, everything is good. Then I will give you a small token to you. And I will tell you next time onwards, when you are coming to me, just come with the token. Just come with the token. I will try to give you the access. Then whenever you came with the token, what I will do? I will validate that token. It's not like blindly I will allow you again. I will validate that token, whether the token format is correct or not. Who knows? Maybe you came with duplicate token, right? So there is a chance also, right? Or you came with your friend token. You came with your friend token. Okay. So that's why I will validate your token, whether this token really belongs to this person or not. Okay. And this token is expired or not. Is this token is having this token is having validity or not? Because you are joining the course, they are giving a slip. Is it lifetime validity they are giving? No, right? What they are giving a validity like 6 months or 1 year. So until 1 year you can attend. But after 1 year, if you are coming, they are going to allow you. No, right? They will say like, your time is expired. So that means that the receipt time is expired. So you will not be allowed. If you want to access, what you have to do? You have to renewal that slip. You have to do renewal that slip. So for that, you may pay some amount, whatever it is, or they will give one more slip, maybe free of cost, whatever it is. But what you are doing here, you are getting a new slip, a renewal slip. And again, it will have a new time stamp with respect to expiry, right? So this is all our real life scenarios are not. Same process here also. When you are sending a login request, it will verify username password is correct or not. If everything is good, then it will send a response. Along with that response, internally server application will generate a token and the tokens will be shared to the client application. Now next to request onwards, the client has to send always the token to the server application. The client has to send always the token to the server application. When I want to see my addresses information, I no need to send my username password this time. I have to send my token. I have to send my token name, token value as or the token to the server application along with the request body. Now server application will read the token and will verify that token this time. Now this time what it is doing? Is it verifying username password or is it verifying the token details? This time onwards, it is verifying the token details. It's not asking you, hey, can you give me your username password? It's already done in the login step. Next, so at login level, as a response you received a token also along with actual response body. So now in the next request onwards, you are clicking on the addresses, you are clicking on the profile, you are clicking on the photos, you are clicking on your personal information, edit profile, all these things. Then it will, the client application will always send a token. The token will be verified by the server application now. Okay, this token is really a valid token or not? This token really created for this user or not? Okay, this token is expired or not? Generally, we will set expiry also for every token based on the application complexity. I will come back. I'll explain that. Simply server will validate the token. Everything is good. Then it will allow you. Then that request will be reached to the controller class. And then that controller method will be executed and you will get a response back. Okay, you will get a response back. For example, token is mismatching or maybe token is expired. Due to some reasons, token is an invalid token. Okay, due to when I'm validating the token, I found like it is an invalid token. Then your request is going to be executed successfully. No, then what you will get back is you are unauthorized person, you are unauthenticated person. Like that, I will give you an error message back to the client. You are an unauthenticated person, you are unauthorized person. I will not allow you to execute the request to get the response. So what security layer will do? Security layer will not allow the request to the controller. Immediately security layer itself, what it is doing? It is an invalid token. Go to your home like that, go to client, Like that, it will give a error message to the client. Now, what front end team will do? Based on that error message, based on that error status code, 401 unauthorized, based on that status codes, whatever we are writing, now they will start displaying. What they will display now? Login page or error page. Now they are displaying a login page. So that is what from the new client. So why when you enter same URL from the new client, why it is asking username password is in the browser cache level, probably they are using some sessions, they are using some cookies. Different applications will use different approaches. Couple of applications will exchange the token via cookies. Couple of applications will exchange via some session IDs. Couple of applications will exchange via headers. Most of the applications will follow headers only. Okay, most of the applications will share token via headers only. Okay, so to avoid the cookies, people will try to avoid the cookies with respect to this sensitive information. The reason is cookies will be stored in temporary in your browser memory. Okay, so there might be a chance of compromising the security also. That's why people will use headers in most of the cases. In my experience, I use so many places. In every application, we use only headers to exchange the token in between client and server. When server sending to the client, what is the header it is? What type of header it is? Response. Client sending to the server, you have to attach the token to the request header. So this is how the authentication process will be happen based on a token. Now this overall process is going to called as a token based authentication. Token based authentication. So let's see here. I will give you one more flow and we will try to implement based on this flow. We will also try to implement our Spring Boot application now. For example, I have a client again. I have a server application. Okay. So here, please think with respect to common sense and answer. Just only common sense is required. Okay, it is a client. It is a server application. See the same token based authentications what we are discussing now. Okay, these are all probably available in another programming language applications also. Okay, it's like same to Python or any other backend applications or whatever it is, .NET, everywhere you will see the same concept. Okay, so here, okay, server means what, guys? Server application. Think it as a server application. Client means user interface. Only user interface will become always a client. Then only when I'm saying like client, only front end is going to become a client, or only a browser application is going to become a client. Then what we will have in the client place other than front end? Any another programming language application also. Whoever is sending request to the server application, whatever application, that will become as a client. For example, assume you written REST services. Nowadays, everything is you are implementing as a REST services, right? Okay, you implemented so many REST services as part of your server application. Out of that REST services, couple of services are accessed by a Python application. Somehow, one more Python application is connecting your Spring Boot application. So in this case, Python is becoming what? Client application. We discussed, right? Consumer versus producer. When you are discussing about the REST template, right? Accessing, consuming the REST services. So whoever is sending the request, that application will be called as client application. So in this case, Python also. So tomorrow, when you want, okay, we will discuss this later. So that means don't think client is always a front end. Okay, always a front end. Sometimes one more Spring Boot application also. One Spring Boot application is calling another Spring Boot application. Okay, so like that, anything will become client. Whoever is sending the request, not only front end application. Okay, fine. Who sends the request? Yes, correct. Okay, so fine. Now in this case, okay, let's take only again Flipkart only, or Gmail also if you think. In our day-to-day, what we will use. So first time you are accessing the Flipkart account. What you will do as a customer point of view, what you will do first time? You have any user account in the Flipkart? No, right? We don't have any user account. So first what we will do then? Now assume we are creating a Flipkart web application. We are implementing a Flipkart web application as a Spring developer or Java developer. Now, first thing is what we have to implement here. Will you do login without registration? No, right? So that means first, what is the REST service we have to implement then? User slash registration. Okay. So here you will collect his name, email ID, password, phone numbers. Assume you just collected all these details, password, phone numbers and everything. So as a request body, etc., etc. His mail, gender details and everything. So you know how to implement this REST service? You know, right? Okay, you implemented a service called as registration REST service. Now, front-end team will integrate this REST service with the, front-end team will integrate this REST service. Okay, by writing the front-end logic, React or whatever it is. We already saw an example or not? I already shown you one React application is integrating with our Spring Boot application. Right? We saw an operation, user sign up. So now front-end team will write down their logic file. Now whenever, okay, so create account or user registration, anything is fine. Okay, second, now user sent a request from the front end, a request came for /user/register. So in this case, what front end team will do? They will display a user registration form, email ID, text box, first name, text box, last name, text box. Like that, they will display a front end form and user will enter all his information as a customer and customer will click on the button called as submit or sign up or register button, whatever it is, right? A button, submit type button, he will click. Then immediately the request is going to this REST service or not, right? So as a request, body level, this all information will be available and that request body is reaching with all the information, whatever customer entered, like Dilip, gender is male, email ID Dilip@123.com, password Dilip@123. Like that, all the information will reach to our server application. Now, server application reads that data from the request body annotation. You know all the process, and you will insert into database. Okay, then you will give a response back to the client. That means front end application. What is the status code you will give here? 200 or 201? 202. 200, 201. 201. Why 200? Here, first time user creating his account, a insert operation is happening or not? In the DB point of view. Then what is the status code we discussed? When user account, when any new resource is created, a new account is created, a new product is added successfully. For example, the user, second time he forgot he registered 1 month back. Today he opened register button, again he given same email ID and he send the request. Then one more account is going to be created. No, right? So then you will get a response back like user is already, or email ID is already existed, try with another thing. So in such case, you will get that message with status code called as 201 or 200. 200, okay. So that means here, you sent request for registration only, but actual registration happened? No. In the database level, a new insert operation executed? No, right? So that's why at that time 200, okay. But in this case, it is inserted. So please guys, why are you forgetting all these things? These are all very important in an interview also. Okay, 201, created, you will give a response like user account created, try to log in. Try to log in? No. Okay, fine. Now, the same user, what he will do now? Yeah, 201 created is correct, Bhavani. Thank you. And Swami also. So please remember guys, it's very important. And I'm going very slowly also. Okay. Now what user will do guys? Tell me. User will send a login. Okay. Now front-end team will display a form like username, password, and a button called as login button. Now user will enter his username, password, and user will click on the login button. Now immediately a request will go to this login button is integrated with /login REST service. So as a backend developer, we are already return login REST service or not? Yes. Assume we already implemented the login REST service, and as part of the login, we are validating username and password. If it is matching, we will give all the user information. If it is not matching, we will give response as invalid credentials. That's all, right? So in this case, a request reached to the login. We will validate credentials. We will validate the credentials. Okay, if here two cases will be available. Success. So what is the meaning of success? Hey, validation is success. Nothing but username password combination is available. Username password combination is available. So then what you will give in the response body level? What is the response you have to send? All user information. Like his first name, his last name, his gender, his mobile number, all the user information. You will run one more query or one more JPA method. Okay, find by user ID, something like that. You will get all the user information and you will prepare a response object, a Java object, or finally you are sending a JSON response back to the front end with all the user information. Now front end will read that data and they will start displaying in a format called as like this. Now they will display this user icon, this delete, my profile, how many orders you made, I mean wish list, how many wish list, how many products you added to the wish list, and what are the, okay, once you are clicking on the profile, your first name, your last name, what are the gender, okay, what is your gender, what is your mobile number, what is your email ID, everything is displaying. So is it will happen on the login failure? So in this case, what you will get? Invalid credentials. Simply a message you will send like invalid credentials, try again. Try again. Right? Okay. So this is very simple, straightforward scenario here. But in this case, on successful scenario, what you are doing? You are sending all the user information back to the client. Okay, as a response, you are sending all the user information. No, fine. Now, okay, now I clicked on the button called as manage addresses. Then I can see all the addresses information. So a request went into the backend and you can see all the address information. Here it is. Okay. So now what is the request you clicked from the front end? What is the request we sent? What is the button we clicked? Addresses, right? Manage addresses. Then the request went to /accounts/addresses. So assume in the backend they will send request body also. They will, along with request body, they are sending 668826111377. In the request body, I am sending an information like this. Along with request, in the request body level, I am sending this information. Okay. So in this case, you are sending user ID, right? User ID is phone number, unique user ID, and you are asking for the address details. Now, for example, in our Spring Boot applications, if I send this request, I will get all the addresses related to the 8826111377 or not. By default, we are going to get the response of, you will write a logic like what? So where select all the addresses where user ID equal to 8826111377. Then you will get all the three addresses belongs to this mobile number or not, and you will send it to back. But where is security here? Okay, so in this case, somehow you have to involve one of the example, you have to involve the token based authentication system. Okay, fine. So here, before coming to the security implementation with respect to this example, let's see here, I will give you a few other points, then we will go and complete this flow. So what it is, whenever we are implementing any functionality, nowadays, how we are implementing all the functionalities, guys? Any requirement, how we are implementing? Definitely as a REST service. Every functionality nowadays in every application, we are implementing as a REST service in the backend application. So it's a collection of REST services for login, for address, okay, for getting all the addresses, for login, for registration, for deleting account, for changing your password, for changing your email ID, okay, for changing your mobile number, for every front end level, whatever the functionality you are doing in the back end, respectively, you will have REST services. Respectively, you will have REST services. That is the latest behavior of every application, latest design. Okay, REST services. Now, in this case, tell me, I'm sending a request. I sent a request for the slash user slash register first time from the client. I opened a new laptop. I'm just taking like that, a new browser, and I sent a request to the slash user and slash register. Okay, I'll take like this, user slash login, user slash addresses, or I can take like this also, account, Spring, Eclipse, that Flipkart point of view. Account slash update slash profile. Account slash reset password, etc., etc. So after that, products slash add slash products slash delete, and based on the product ID. So like that, assume I have implemented REST services slash make payment slash create order, cancel order, like that. Assume I created 500 REST services. 500 REST services. Okay, fine. And out of 500 REST services, assume I have this one also. Slash help slash contact slash okay, customer care, whatever it is. Slash about as something like that. So you're already, you are having these REST services also. So help page will display all the help information. Okay, something like that. Contact is nothing but they will display some contact form. So you can enter your details. They will come back to you. Customer care is about they will display all the customer care email IDs, mobile numbers, or maybe customer care toll free numbers and all. About us means they will explain about all the company details. Like that, you are having lot of REST services and okay, fine. Now, out of all these 500 REST services, to access any REST service functionality, we need to implement security. So in this case, when it comes to slash account addresses, okay, when it comes to see here, if you see, go through the Flipkart account only. So first thing is, I open the home page, flipkart.com. Okay, whenever, so I clicked on the contact us. So home page is flipkart.com. I clicked on the contact us. Now, so this is the URI you got. Okay, now tell me in this case, as a Java developer point of view, as a Spring Boot developer point of view, to access this content, help center content, okay, whatever you can see here, Flipkart 24/7 as a response point of view, whatever the questions they are asking related to the help topics, delivery related, payment related, all these things. To give this response, to give this all this information to the client, we need security. Think we need security? No. Why? No. So when you are sending this request, see here, Control C, new incognito window, and I'm sending from here also. Here also I can see the response. It's not asking me the login. Why? Why? But same thing, if I entered here, flipkart.com/account addresses. Why it is asking username password? Why it is displaying all the content? Like in previous session, but in this new session also, I can see this content. Even if I go to the another browser, I can see all the content. Why? Why it's not asking login? So yes. So here you have to understand two more points. Okay. So whenever, see my explanation, entire explanation is going in the Paint application only. Once you are going to the home, download the Paint images and understand the flow. I'm not writing much in the running notes. Okay. So, but these are all things available very clearly in the material also. I'll upload material today, security one. But you just download this Paint images, then you will understand what we discussed. Okay. So here you have again a concept called as protected APIs. Okay. Second one is non-protected APIs. Non-protected APIs. Or open APIs, public APIs, people will call it as public APIs also. Open APIs, whatever it is. So here, what is the meaning of protected? What is the meaning of open, public? So API is nothing but what? REST services. A collection of REST services will be called as API. Okay. So here, out of 500 REST services, assume you implemented 500 REST services. So out of 500, sometimes you will define couple of REST services, okay, couple of REST services as a protected, couple of REST services as a non-protected. So that means what is the meaning of protected, non-protected? Here it is. So anyway, now guess with your knowledge, /account/addresses is a protected API or non-protected API, or /help center is a protected API or non-protected API. What about this /account/addresses? Protected or non-protected? Why? What is the meaning of protected? Somewhat security, right? Protected is nothing but indirectly security. So that means when you are sending a request for this /account/addresses, when you are already authenticated person, it is displaying your address information. But you are not authenticated earlier and you are sending from your new session, is it displaying all the addresses? Any addresses at least? What it is displaying immediately? A login page it is displaying. So that means it's a protected API. So that means whenever it comes under the protected API section, so it should be validated with the security. So that means must and should, it has to be validated by security layer. Security layer. What we are going to implement the security layer. So these APIs, these REST services, I have to make sure 100% first security should be validated. Once security is good, then here security check is again two status. Security may fail, security check will become success. That's why yesterday we taken an example of interview. When you went to the interview, when you enter the location of the company, what security people will do? Your security is failed. They will allow you into the premises? No, they will say like go back to home. Your security is failed. So what you will do? You will come back to home. You will not enter into the premises. When your security is success, then you are entering into the premises and you are giving the interview. So right, on successful validation. So like that, if security is failed, okay, so then what it is going to do? You will send some unauthorized. So he is an unauthorized person or not? You will send like unauthorized request or whatever it is, unauthorized request, something like that, and you will send this response back to the client. You will send this response back to the client. Now client will understand, okay, unauthorized. Okay, first he has to be authorized. He has to be authenticated. Then in this case, what will be displayed? In the front end level, once this status code is went this login page, we are seeing in the Flipkart or not? When security is failed. Now, for example, security is success. That means, so the token is good or whatever it is, we will see that. Security is success. Then as a response, what you are getting? As a response, what you are getting? Addresses of, okay, and we are just taking as an example of /account/addresses. slash address. An example out of protected API. So addresses of that user are not. Okay, addresses of all that user are not. Now you are getting this as a response back to the client. So in this case, when it comes to non-protected API, or public APIs, are you going to implementing the security logic? So why you have to implement the security logic? It's a public information. See, in this case, addresses is a private information or not? My addresses is my private information. So before giving addresses information, Flipkart application can share your addresses to me. Is it allowed? A Flipkart application, for example, I sent request for so and so. Okay, I'm trying to access so and so goal addresses. Okay, I'm just telling like that. Is it a valid case? I want to see only as a Dilip Singh. I want to see only my addresses. When I'm proving myself Dilip Singh, then I have to see only my addresses. Flipkart can show some other people addresses to me. Is it valid scenarios? No, right? It should not be, right? So similarly here also, but when it comes to this, so that's why here, for every user point of view, the response is changing or not. In this case, the addresses, for example, now Dilip logged in, so Dilip can see all the addresses. Now Suresh logged in, Suresh can see his addresses. Now so and so girl logged into this Flipkart account, okay, and she will see his own, she will see her own addresses, right? Her own addresses, she will see. This is what happening in Flipkart or not. So that means for every new client, for every new user, the response is changing or not? The response is changing or not? So if you enter this URL from your computer, once you logged into Flipkart account from the same session, you enter this URL. So what are the addresses you will see? You will see your addresses or my addresses? Obviously your addresses, only that specific user addresses. So in this case, Dilip, so that's why I'm seeing only Dilip addresses, right? So that means for every request, a response is getting changing from for one user to another user or not? From one customer to another customer, the response is changing or not? That too, the response data is a private information or public information? Private or public? Private information. So when he did the login, then only he has to see. So those comes under the protected API. So there you will implement the security layer. I mean, somehow all these APIs should be processed by the security layer. Based on the security result only, the request will be executed or not will happen based on the security validation. Now, when it comes to the non-protected API, so these APIs we are considering as a public information, public API, common information. Now, for example, you sent this URL from your computer now. So are you going to see any new response other than this? New response other than this? You will also see same content from your computer. See, computer in the sense I already opened editor, Edge browser also, new browser. So then also I can see same content or not. So from your computer also, if you are clicking on the help center, you will see same information or different information. Same information you will also see what is our problems. They are displaying a generic information, a common information for every customer. It's a public information. In this case, any private information is involving? Anything involving customer related information? No, it's all public information sharing by the Flipkart company. Okay. So for example, now go to the home page again. This is all about help center. Now you entered flipkart.com from your computer. Okay. So you just clicked on about us. Now I'm seeing all this video playing and I'm seeing all these details and I'm seeing about the Flipkart information. Now if you enter this URL from your computer, are you going to see any another different videos, different images? No, right? You're getting my point? Are you going to see different images, different points? So that means in this case, can I call this as a protected API or non-protected API? Public API. Yes. So this I'm calling it as a non-protected API or public API. So why? Here there is nothing involving related to as individual customers. It's a common information, generic information for every customer. So in this case, the response when you are sending request to the server application, like you want to know about the Flipkart, So whenever a request going to the server application will not involve any security I mean, we have to make sure somehow we should not process this request under security. That means no security should be applied. What is this case? In this case, for this request, the security layer what we are going to implement now has to be affected for this request. So that means, can we ask, hey, where is your token like this for this request? Are we going to ask token for this request? No. Here, we should ask, we should write somehow logic like it has to come up with always a individual token, something like that on successful login of user. But here, tokens are required. So when tokens are not required means there is no security. That means, are you applying security implementation for these endpoints? No, right? For these REST services are applying the security layer? No, right? So that means, what is the concept you understood now? A real-time application always contains, okay, protected. Okay, no security, fine. Okay, so what is the point you understood now? So in a real-time application, in every Spring Boot, in any application, not Spring Boot like that, in any real-time application, in any application, you are going to have always 100% protected APIs. 100%. No, right? So definitely every application will have majority of the APIs under the protection, but couple of APIs under the non-protection. That means public APIs. Customer care number. What is there in security? It's a simple mobile number they are displaying. So at that time, any security, to access the REST service, we have to implement a security mechanism like give me your token, then only I will give the help center mobile number. Like that, can we write down the logic? Think in a developer point of view now. So there is nothing like private information. There is nothing involving any customer's information. It's a public information. It is a common information. It is a generic information belongs to every customer. So in those kind of REST services, are you going to implement the security layer or are you going to involve the security layer, like come up with the token, then only I will give you the response. So in this case, on what basis you will create the token? In earlier case, when it comes to /account/addresses, you are creating token based on the user ID. But in this case, are you going to have any user IDs? Are you going to have any user IDs? No, right? It's a public. So that means every application will have protected APIs and non-protected APIs. So that means, for example, see here. Okay, so okay, so here now this is the REST service or not? This is the protected API or non-protected API? How you will say like non-protected API? How you are going to say like non-protected API? So this is a REST service we collected from the internet, but you can see the response. So that means in this case, they are expecting any response. Give me a second. Okay, sorry. So here, now can I consider this as a protected API, protected REST service? No, right? Non-protected REST service, right? So public API. Now, for example, similarly, we do have one more also we access it, right? This one. This one. So this is also REST services we collected from the internet, right? So in our class only we collected. Now I just entered here. Now see here, I have all these REST services. Okay. So now I'm taking this URL. I'm sending here. So you're getting the response or not? You're getting a response or you're getting something like anything, error message, unauthorized. I will not display response, show me your identity, something like that. No, right? So that means in this case, these are all REST services. These are all REST services, what you can see here. All are protected or non-protected. All are public API. Simply they given for the users, for the developer point of view, for practice point of view, they made it. But in real-time applications, it's not like you are going to have always protected and non. Okay, you are going to always have a protected APIs versus non-protected APIs. Okay, fine. Now, how we are going to segregate? Okay, now I will ask you one more question. Tell me in this case, slash user registration is the REST service we implemented and we discussed about the user creation. Now tell me this REST service comes under the protected or non-protected? Protected or public? Why public? It's taking username, password, all this information from the client to server, right? Yes, it is a public API only because first of all, first time you are reaching me. Okay, how will you get the token to me? You are the new customer today. You enter to me. You are reaching me. You are the new customer or new student. You are reaching me. First today you are connecting me. The day one first interaction itself, how will you get the token? What I am producing to you? Once you came to first day, once you registered all the details with me, then second time I will say like when you are coming for the sequence of actions, I will give you the token like that. So for the user registration point of view, first of all, user itself not available on the database. That's why he creating his account. That's why he is creating his account. Then how will you expect a token for this REST service? So that's why this user registration is always comes under protected or public? Public API. If you are not displaying a form, user interface form, and if you are expecting the token, then how customers will register their accounts, a new customers? You are locking the door and you are saying like enter into the room. How it is possible? So that means, first of all, user registration is doing for the purpose of making an account into Flipkart so that I can log in into Flipkart, so that I can make the orders, I can make the payments. So in this case, slash user slash register comes under the protected API or non-protected API? Non-protected API, public API. So you should not involve security layer. Okay, we should not apply security logic. Okay, fine. Now when it comes to the second request, slash login. A front end or a client sending a request from the front end to back end. Okay, from client to server application. In our server application level, for the slash login REST service, we have to apply security layer, security logic or not. That means, is it a protected or public? Protected or public? Again public. Why? He is trying to do the login. He is trying to do authentication. He is trying to do the authentication. So when he was trying to do the authentication to do actual other activities, to make the orders, to make the payments, he was trying to do the login. So when he was trying to authentication, so login process will be called as what, guys? Authentication is means what? Okay, so with his, once his user account is created, now once he clicked on the login button, login page, once he entered his username, password, and he is clicking on the login button, by the time, how will you expect a token from the customer? Because he is doing the login right now. After login, his username, password is matching with our records. Then you will create a token and you will give it to him and you will say like next time onwards, when you are coming for any personal information of your account, then say come up with this token, then only I will give you the response. Then only I will give you the response. For example, user entered wrong username or wrong password. Then are you going to create a token in this case? No, you will simply give a message like invalid credentials. Are you creating token? No. For example, now user entered correct information. You okay, in the DB level, data is matching with username and password columns. Now, what you will do? You will send all his information, first name, last name, gender, mobile number, email ID, all the details as a response body to the client. Along with that, what you have to do in the server application level? Now we have to implement a logic based on the security layer. We have to create a token for that user ID, for that unique user ID. We have to create a token and we have to send that token to the client application. Now, next time onwards, when client clicking on any options related to his personal information like addresses, changing the password, edit the profile, change the mobile number, change the email ID, like all these are operations are personal to that user or public operations. All personal to that user. So now, okay, now you can see his home page. Now you clicked on the manage addresses. Then you are seeing all the addresses. So in this case, token is going or username is password is going in the backend. Token is going. Now token is, so in this case, /account/addresses, whatever we can see here. Okay, so whatever you can see here, /account/addresses, this is all comes under the, okay. So what? Account/addresses is the REST service. Is it a protected API or non-protected API? Public API. 100% protected. That's why if you are entering same URL in the same session, by the time already token is available in your browser cache memory, the token is going to the server. It is validating. It is a good token. That's why you got the addresses. But if you are taking the same URL from the new client, from the new computer, or from the new client where your token is not available in the browser cache memory, okay, but still you are sending the request, token is missing because token is not available in your browser cache level. So token is missing. Request went into the server application. Server application looking for the username or password or token. Server looking for token for this REST API point of view. But token is available in the request body? No. So then server is saying, I don't see any token. So that's why I don't know whose addresses I have to provide. So first of all, prove who are you, then I will give you the addresses. That's why immediately they are asking what? See here. So that's why immediately they are asking a username password, not the addresses. So once you enter username passwords, see, you got home page or addresses? Directly you got the addresses. Why? So that means you are trying to access actual REST services /account/addresses, but by the time token available in the new session, new browser, not available. Then it is saying like, I will give you the addresses, but to give you the addresses, I don't find the token. When I'm not finding the token, can I find out the user details? No. So that means some information is missing. First thing is token is not there. So that's why I will not allow you to execute the REST service where I am loading the addresses information. And at the same time, then it is saying like, give me your authentication, give me your identity. Once I am validating your identity, then I will give you the addresses. Then in this case, what? It is sent unauthenticated to the front end. Now front end displayed mobile number as a user number. Front end displayed a login page. Now I entered my username and password. Then immediately what happened in the back end? It is validated username password is correct or not. Yes, correct. And immediately it created a token. And immediately the REST service you sent for what? /account/addresses, right? The REST service, actual REST service what you triggered. Then it is loading the addresses for that user, whatever the mobile number you entered, 8826111377. For that user, it is loading the addresses and it is giving response back to the client. In this case, token went back to in this case also, now token sent it to the client or not in the backend? Yes, it will send. So that's why if I are clicking on the profile information, you can see all this information. If you are clicking on the, gift cards, you can see any gift cards available under the Dilip account or not. If you are clicking on the my profile again, you are seeing all this information. If you are clicking on the edit, you can edit all your information. So that means why this is happening now? A token is already available in your browser cache level. For example, the problem here it is, anyone tried yesterday clearing the browsing data history and trying to do the login? Trying to load your inbox of Gmail? No, right? I told you, right, for trying. Then how will you get subject ones? Yeah, that's what experiments do. It's free of cost in your computer only. Then only will realize the real time. You will say like, sir, give us a real-time project. This is real-time project only. I'm opening Flipkart. I'm explaining about all the Flipkart. I told you very clearly, try this option by coming tomorrow class. Clear the browse. Now, if I clear the browsing data, if I send the request with slash account addresses, I'm going to see. No, because token is missing from the browser cache memory somehow, like that. So that is what. Okay, just try that. Who is sending the token? Client application is nothing but front end. Front end team will write the logic. Okay, front end team as the server will give you token as a response level, and client front end team knows how to read the token, sending again as part of the header to the server application. It's an understanding between the front end developers versus back end developers. Okay, front end is not sending automatically. Front end team will write the logic. When a token is coming from back end to front end in a header level, they will read that value from that header. They will write down the logic. They will write down the React logic. For example, it is a React front end application. They will write a logic like read value from the from that header and attach that token name. Okay, while sending request to the server application in the back end, they will always attach the token. This is all logic implemented by the front end team. They know how to do that. As a front end developer, they know how to do that. They know all this process. It's a communication. I mean, it's a programmatical point of view integration between front end versus back end. Okay, so like that, those guys will do. Okay, so 847. So now see here, now you understood why sometimes, even though there is no security, you can see a couple of informations, but sometimes when you are clicking on any couple of buttons, it will not display the information. It will ask you the username and password. The reason is couple of APIs are protected APIs, couple of APIs are non-protected APIs. So now fine. Now in a single application, when I have 500 REST services, or sometimes you will have 1,000 REST services also. Then how can you make sure for each and individual REST service level, which is a protected and which is a non-protected one? So service number 1, service number 2, like that, service 1,000 you have. So how will you make sure which service is protected, which service is non-protected? We will have some configuration logic implementation. There, you will not configure each and every REST service which is a protected, which is a non-protected. I will show you the patterns, which one is an open API, which one is a protected API. We will discuss as part of the security layer implementation. So tomorrow what we are going to do here it is, now you got the point. For example, now I sent a request for the slash account addresses. In this case, token should be involved or not? Right? Because it's a personal information. Okay, now if he is sending for slash help, token is required. So that means we should not expect the token. Even that request should process via security layer, or it has to skip the security layer. It has to skip the security layer because we are making it as a open API. So security will read, it will receive the request, it will observe based on our configuration. It is a protected or non-protected. We will configure slash help as a non-protected. Then security layer will say like, okay, I don't need any token, go and execute the actual REST service in the controller class. Like that. Based on our configuration, it will allow whether it is a protected or open ASM. So tomorrow what we are going to do here it is. Yeah, we will come back those details also tomorrow, Kazal. How token will be, how can we set a timestamp to the token? For example, you made a login in couple of real-time applications. Have you observed or not? When you do the login, after 10 minutes, your login will be expired. And if you are trying to access same URI, it will directly redirect it to the login page. It will not display the same page. But in Flipkart, it is going to happen. No, right? But couple of applications, especially net banking application. You logged into your net banking, username, password you given, you will see your available balance and everything. After 5 minutes, you just go outside for 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, refresh your browser. Are you going to see your available balance? Or it is going to display the login page. It will ask you the login page. That means the token expired within 2-3 minutes. The token is expired. So then internally it will verify token is a valid token with respect to timestamp or not. Validity given only for 2-3 minutes. Okay, it is out of 3 minutes. So that's why then it will say like your token is expired. Can you re-log in one more time? Then only I will show you like that. We will discuss those scenarios tomorrow. Okay. So here, how our implementation is going to happen as part of our MVC layer, we will just take a small point and we will leave. Okay, leave about the front end client view layer. So it's all about the backend layer. Okay. So generally as of now, from view layer to the request always reaches to where, guys? Okay, dispatcher servlet, that is all internal details. Okay, good. That is also good. But finally, it is reaching to the controller layer. Okay, internally dispatcher servlet handler mapping. This is all common. Yes, thanks. Okay, finally, it is reaching to the view layer is nothing but front end. And whatever it is, I can call it as client also. Okay, from here, always requests are reaching to the controller. And in our controller, what we define? All our REST services, /login, /register, request body, response body, status codes, response entity, all this logic where we are writing controller, right? Okay, fine. After that, service layer, repository layer, DB layer, you know all this process, right? But now, generally security will coming into the picture in before which layer or after which layer? Tell me now, with our common sense. If it is reaching to the source code of REST service, then it's not security, right? So before controller layer, now a security layer is going to be coming into the picture. So here, a security layer we are going to add. So that means now every request 100% goes to the security layer. Now as part of the security layer implementation, I written like this /help/addresses, something like that. Okay. So assume a request came for the /help. Then security layer will validate, is it a protected or non-protected? Is it a protected or non-protected? Non-protected. Then it will say like, okay, I will no need of token, go and execute your request from so and so controller classes and get your response back. Now a request came for this /addresses. Now security layer will verify this belongs to protected or public. It decided like protected. Then immediately it is deciding like, okay, it is identifying as a protected API. Then it will ask, then it will try to verify the token details in the request level. And from the request, it will try to get the token. And if token is available, then security layer will validate that token in different use cases. We will see that once token is valid, then the request is reaching to the where controller class. For example, token is invalid. Now, in this case, successful scenario response, you are coming back to like this. For example, for the same address, you sent request, but token is missing or something, token is invalid token. Now, in this case, security layer decided like token is an invalid token. So the request is reaching to the controller or security layer itself sending response back immediately. So in this case, once security is failed, red mark, security is failed, that means token is somewhat invalid token. So in this case, the request will be forwarded to the controller layer or immediately security layer itself will generate a response and the response will be forwarded to the client. Security layer will generate a response with error message or something like your unauthorized user, please prove, please come up with the login, something like that. We will write some logic and with that response, a response will be going to the client. So in this case, controller, the request is reaching to the controller layer premises. That is what the interview use case we taken yesterday. Your security is failed. Security team validated. Email ID is correct or not. Date and time is correct or not. Okay, your venue is correct or not. For example, like that, everything they are validating. So once everything is good, then only they are giving you ID card. If something is wrong, then they are saying like security is failed, go back to your home. So here, HR is saying to the go back to home or security team is saying? Security team is saying. Similarly here also, when token is invalid token or token is expired token, then security layer will decide invalid request, unauthenticated request or unauthorized request. So security layer itself will generate a response and given it back to the client as unauthorized user. So please come up with your authentication, then I will allow you. Okay, this is how we are going to write down. Now, so here we are going to involve the security layer. Fine. Now, one more point I will ask you. So whatever the work we are doing with respect to security layer logic here, is it one-time work or everyday day-to-day work? Is it one-time work, one-time implementation or every day you will work on the security layer? It's only one-time work. You will automate only one time. Okay, that's all. That's why most of the people will never ever get a chance to work with the security layer. In my case also, I never got a chance to work on the security layer, but I got a chance only once. It's not like pure implementation from the scratch to 0 to 100%. there is already security layer is available. Some couple of changes we have to do based on the some security rules. I made 2-3 lines, then I understood how security layer is working. So that means this is only one time work. This is only one time work. It's not like every day you are going to get about the security layer implementation in your real-time application. This is only one-time configuration. Once you implemented the security layer, so the same formulas, the same token validation, creation, validation, okay, this is all process will apply for all 1,000 REST services, 2,000 REST services, 3,000 REST services, what you are creating as part of your application. Okay, so please try to understand the security. I'm trying to simplify as much as possible by showing the real-time applications also. Okay, no one will help you if you are not understanding here, because I'm opening the Flipkart, I'm opening new session, new browsers and everything. Okay, so just try to understand as much as possible. It will involve couple of new terminologies and couple of new small new functionalities. It is little bit difficult to understand only. I'm also telling you, you will not get it within first explanation itself or first practice itself. You will not understand the security layer. So please practice minimum 4 to 5 times. Don't leave the practice after practicing. Sometimes if you are feeling like security is difficult, so that I can ignore the security. It's up to your choice. But if you are practicing 4 to 5 times, okay, once we are starting the programming point, if you are doing 4 to 5 times, 6th time you will feel okay, very easy. And what's happening in between view layer to security, security to controller, what's happening and all, you will understand automatically. So my suggestion here it is, I know it is difficult. Tomorrow onwards, little bit, 3-4 classes it will take. But the terminology, the programming, what we are writing with respect to security layer implementation is going to show some difficulty. But don't, by seeing that small difficulty, don't ignore the security layer. Try to break that difficulty and try to achieve by doing 4 to 5 times of practice. Even I also did 5 to 6 times practice. Then only I came to know that how security layer is operating. Otherwise, I also did not understand as an experienced person. I also am unable to understand within first attempt. Second attempt also I did not understand. Then after keep on doing, then one fine day I understood how it is working like that. So okay, so please practice a number of times. So tomorrow the actual programming will start here. So here, do I need to teach this part? No, right? So our concentration is all about security layer. So this is where we will understand tomorrow. Tomorrow we will take a Spring Boot application, a plain Spring Boot application with user registration, login, something like address only we will take, one more REST service, and one public API we will take /help, /about us, something like that. We will take 5 to 6 REST services. Okay, and we will make 2-3 are protected, 2-3 are non-protected, and then we will see how to implement the security layer with respect to protected versus non-protected and all we will understand. And I will explain you tomorrow how to create the token, what are the token based token generation frameworks we have, which is being used in real-time applications. So we will see everything in tomorrow's class. Programming will start from tomorrow. Okay, thanks.